Welcome into this, your camera. Welcome into this Wednesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham and Neal McCready, Clark Ford Studio this morning. We're getting set up. I had one little deal there. No big deal. Just for the few live streamers that are joining us first thing this morning. We'll talk a lot about today. Obviously, about Grant Tisdale leaving the program. The former now Ole Miss quarterback. I was going to say four-star prospect out of Allen, Texas, but either way, played one series this season. He entered the transfer portal yesterday. He is no longer with the program. We'll also talk about the NCAA making, on its face, look like a very bold statement. In reality, it was a bunch of nothing. We'll get into that as well. So that's kind of an NCAA-related show today for you, brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. You've got 2 days left. 2 days left to take advantage of the free gas for a year sweepstakes with the Oxford Exxon. You know what you got to do. You just head on over. You get one of those Mobile Rewards Plus cards. Take advantage of it. Get at least 8 gallons of gas. You're going to get good gas prices too. So you get the card, get at least 8 gallons of gas. You're automatically entered into a free gas for a year sweepstakes with the Oxford Exxon. Get your lunch specials, your daiquiris, your ribs, all that stuff there at the same time. And again, it's coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900 is the number. Call it. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what new Ford product you're looking for, and he'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours, right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote, and the rest is up to you. You can use it as a starting point moving forward as you look at other vehicles or whatnot, or you can do the smart thing, do what I've done several times, what a lot of podcast listeners have done, and that's get into a Clark Ford today. You'll love the product. You'll love the service after the sale. Corey wants to be your truck guy. He wants to be your car guy. He'll prove that to you. Just call the number 662-257-1900.
So you were at the post-practice stuff yesterday. Grant Tisdale not on the field yesterday for the Rebels.
Correct.
I don't know exactly when he had his last practice. We talked to him last Wednesday, I believe.
My suspicion is that he did not practice on Sunday. Over the open date that he made the decision. People noticed that he was not at practice yesterday and asked, and we were told that he is gone. Right.
So if you go back and watch his video from last Wednesday, it's up on the site. It's in this YouTube feed if you're watching our live stream. He was careful with his words. He did no commitment to the program, did nothing about his future whatsoever. He said, and frankly, with his eyes and his words, indicated that he was not happy with the situation.
His eyes told me, I'm gone.
This is not a surprise at all.
Like I told people, if you've ever been dumped, you saw those eyes before. He was gone.
It's not you, it's me. Is that what we were getting there?
Well, with him, it's not me, it's you.
Yeah.
He doesn't feel like he got a fair shot. You saw that in the comments that he made. He was very diplomatic. He's a really nice kid. We're going to dive into it, I know, but you could see this coming. It just, to me, and I wrote this, it begs so many questions. Oh, yes, Patrick, I've been dumped. Yes, sir.
That means you had one to start with, though.
Yeah.
See, that's a silver lining. That's a glass half full thing, Neal. That's
true.
It is better to be dumped than never to have had anything at all.
That is true. I know that now. If I could go back and be 17 and know what I know at 49, I'd be a little more dangerous.
Different world.
Oh, it'd be a lot different deal.
How many times have you been dumped where like you really like depressed, like had a tough time?
Couple times.
Have you?
Yeah, a couple times. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just curious.
Yeah.
College? After?
Oh, yeah.
College,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Tisdale can jump in. And I'm kind of, I probably should have, I wrote some stuff down on the other thing with NCAA. I didn't really do a lot of pre-show with Tisdale because I thought we'd just sort of keep it organic. But it's a little multi-layered because you've got to kind of hang with us a little bit here. And the reason I say that is because, look, somebody was going to leave. It's the nature of college football in 2019 when you have multiple quarterbacks who were highly recruited and showed up anyway. I mean, whatever that stat is, it's something like 68% of Power 5 schools have either a true freshman or a transfer, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you knew that was going to be the case, even more so when they're all the same age. Every one of them are listed as freshmen.
Yeah.
Corral, maybe he's a redshirt freshman, whatever, but they're all listed as freshmen. So that was going to lead to this anyway.
There was a 0% chance, in my opinion, that all 4 of those kids were going to stay in that same room for another year.
And the Corral injury is what made the dynamic strange here, because had Matt Corral just stayed healthy and played the season and been a pretty decent quarterback, I don't think Grant Tisdale transfers this week.
I agree.
I think the situation played out this way.
I agree.
And we're not in those rooms. We're not in meetings. As you said, we saw one live rep the entire fall camp.
Yep.
A block field goal, extra point, whatever it was.
But I did watch people throw.
You did. Here's where it gets tricky. Let's kind of set this up. We're going to be all over the place. We're going to be here a while, so settle in. I don't think in my mind whatsoever that Matt Luke and Rich Rodriguez played a quarterback that they felt was inferior simply because.
No, I agree
Their
with that.
jobs are on the line. They got to win football games.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think that Grant Tisdale believed that when he came out of fall camp that he was the number 2 quarterback, and should an injury happen, he would be the first guy into the game.
With you so far.
You agree with that?
Yeah.
Even though, and again, we make fun of depth charts. The first depth chart had an or next to it for whatever reason, just pointing that out as we go.
Yeah, and that's, quite frankly, that's why I have my stance on depth charts that a handful of people push back on. Most people now are sarcastic about it.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But the people that push back, it's because of this. The depth charts have all these ors on them. It has nothing to do with the media. It has to do with appeasing the kids. If we just put an or there, we've got an out there.
More kids have spots on 2 deep.
Yes. That's why I pay no attention to them. What I noticed in fall camp, in individual drills, it appeared, and I stress it appeared, from what we saw, that Tisdale was taking the number 2 reps.
He was taking the majority of the number 2 reps in fall camp, best we could tell. And when we talk, and I think I was there that day. I don't think you were there. When Tisdale spoke to us in August,
I was moving Campbell in favor.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Everything appeared to be that he was the number 2 quarterback. It's what we had kind of intimated from Rodriguez and Matt. It's what we talked to Grant about. It felt like that was what was going on. Frankly, it kind of felt like he had taken sort of a leadership role in that way as the number 2 quarterback. This is right after Kincaid Dent had gotten hurt, because Kincaid had been pretty good early in camp.
Kincaid got hurt very early in that first scrimmage, suffered a concussion and missed some time.
Right. So, and frankly, that's all we had to go on. So that's why the day against Cal, I was very surprised when Grant Tisdale was not the quarterback that went into the game when Corral got hurt.
I was too.
I asked Rodriguez about it after the game. He said, well, it was dependent on play calling. We called a quarterback draw, and that's why we put Plumlee in. That's what he said. Right, wrong, and different, I have no idea. That's not the point. That's what Rodriguez said.
Yeah.
I think Grant took all of those things and felt like he had an unfair situation going on. Did he? Didn't he? I have no freaking idea.
Sure, because you're not there. Right.
Here's what we don't know, too. And I think this is relevant. Plumlee came in without spring practice. So if Plumlee's overtaking the backup quarterback job, it does, at least in my mind, logically make sense that, hey, the competition's still ongoing, and at some point following the end of fall camp prior to Cal, he could have been the guy to do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because we don't, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's going on throughout those weeks. So I don't think there's anything malicious here. I don't think there's anything nefarious here. I think Matt or Rich or whomever makes those decisions. I don't even know.
Well, that's the big question.
Well, that's a great question.
To me, that's the big question.
If you told me that something went weird here, I mean, obviously something did go weird here. I think it's 2 things. I don't think Tisdale ever felt comfortable in Rich Rodriguez's system. Because remember, he was kind of flirting with us a little bit when Longo left in December prior to Rodriguez getting hired.
He flirted a lot.
I mean, he signed to play quarterback for Phil Longo, all jokes aside.
No, he did, absolutely.
So that's what he was looking to run from a system standpoint. And I think that Rodriguez prefers Plumlee in his system, given skill sets. And I think that Tisdale was not comfortable in Rodriguez's system. And in some ways, it's very unlucky for everyone involved, because I think this quarterback transfer thing plays out completely different if you just don't have that injury for Matt Corral.
Yeah, I think I agree. Here's my question. I wrote a column about it. Here's my question.
Okay.
what is the direction that the program is headed in from an offensive standpoint? I mean, let's take out the whole thing about whether Matt's getting 2020 or not. Frankly, I think he is. We're going to get into that in a minute. I talked to someone yesterday who just firmly believes it comes down to the outcome of the Egg Bowl, at which point I'm just going to say that is the stupidest thing in the history of stupid things. Regardless, I'm going to, for the sake of this conversation, assume that he's got at least 2020, okay?
Sure.
What direction are you going at that position? Because if you're going with Plumlee as your primary quarterback, you've got to change your system. You've got to change the way you're recruiting. They are recruiting wide receivers. They are recruiting multifaceted running backs. And they are recruiting tall offensive linemen for pass protection purposes. They're not recruiting these small bowling ball offensive linemen who are dynamic run blockers but can't pass block. Rich Rodriguez's offenses, everywhere he's ever been, Ole Miss included, are proficient in the running game. Plumlee is not a good passer, and the stats bear that out. I'm not making fun of the kid. I'm not criticizing the kid, but I've got the stats right here. He's 39 of 82, 47.6%, 456 yards. Those are not dynamic passing offenses. That's not a dynamic passing offense. You can watch him with your eye, and you can see that he can't make every throw. They're limited offensively as a passing attack with Plumlee. Now, he is a dynamic runner. He's number 2 on their team right now in rushing yards, a team that includes Jerry and Ely and Snoop Connor. He's ahead of both of them. He's got 508 yards rushing on 87.
Without playing the first 2 or 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, he's frankly, he's getting 101.6 yards per game, 5.9 yards per carry. He's a dynamic rusher. But if you're going to go with Plumlee, we've talked about this ad nauseum all year, but here's the part that to me is confusing. This was always a development year. This is also where I think their messaging gets off kilter. It was always a development year. It was always, hey, we're going to get these young kids on the field. We're going to take some lumps. We're going to get better. We're going to play them. That's what we're going to do. And then Corral gets hurt. They were moving right along. Everything was fine, and Corral got hurt. That next week against Alabama, I know what my eyes saw on those 2 throws. Oh, wow. He's got some arm talent. Now, can he do the rest of it? I have
Talking
no
about
idea.
Tisdale's mop-up on that last
I'm talking
series.
about Tisdale because we were sitting in here doing this show.
We
and I was
were.
like, whoa.
Well, we reacted on camera. We were actually doing that little thing while the end of the game happened.
And if you watched them in practice, the little part of practice that we saw, you could see Tisdale had arm talent. Now, could he do the rest of it? I have no idea. He was quarterback at Allen, ran a pretty sophisticated system there.
Sure.
My guess is that he is capable of earning it. He seems like a bright kid, all of those things. But that next week they play Vanderbilt, and this is where I think this is my theory. It's an opinion. No one's told me this. It's just Neal talking. So those of you who get angry about this, prepare to get triggered and understand that I'm not reporting this. I'm just guessing a little bit. The pressure to we must win this game. Remember the Vanderbilt game? Oh, boy, it's big. It's big. And so they play Plumlee, and he has a big game against a Vanderbilt defense that day appeared to be lost. Tisdale doesn't get a snap. I've heard Tisdale was told, hey, you're going to play some this week. He didn't. I'm sure that sowed a seed of discontent. And then the next week, they get in with, was it A&M next? I lose track of the game.
It was Missouri.
Yeah, they go to Missouri, and they do the rotational thing. And then they play A&M, where, frankly, I think if they had rotated the quarterbacks opposite of the way they did it, they probably would have won the game.
Okay.
And I think he saw writing on the wall. But I'm back to my.
But here's my question.
I'm back to this. Isn't even about Tisdale. It's which offense are you going with moving forward? Is Rich Rodriguez? If Rich Rodriguez is making the call, I have questions there. Is he going to be here next year? Is he content? Is he cool with being the coordinator? Who's making these decisions moving forward? And if you're going with the Rodriguez Plumlee offense, I'm not sure that's what it doesn't appear to be what you're recruiting to. Now, the next football game I coach will be the first. I could be way off. Just what I see.
Who do you think starts Saturday?
Am I to believe that the swelling's out of his knee and he's healthy?
Whatever you want.
I don't know. Beats me. Kind of my point. Here
They're
we
both
are.
Going to play?
Yeah, I think they'll both play. Here we are in week 9, and we really don't know who the quarterback is.
Yeah, that's my main criticism of this whole deal is once Corral got hurt that next week, you easily could have just you obviously have no issue with playing them both anyway, or playing 2 quarterbacks, not them both, but playing 2 quarterbacks. You could have just played. You could have played Plumlee and Tisdale.
Yeah,
gotten to look at both of them.
That's
Let
my
them both go in there. Just look at it.
That's my Tisdale knock. Is that?
But it's where I come back to your point, and I'm just making sure I'm clear on this. Is that Plumlee gave them a better chance to beat Vanderbilt, and that's what set this thing in motion, regardless of everything else.
Yes. And then
because he could essentially run through Vanderbilt because they're awful.
And then they kind of fell in love with it. Fan base fell in love with it. They've been begging fans to come to games. The kid is charismatic as hell. He's a great-looking kid. He's 2 sports, all that stuff, and the national media loves him.
The 2 most popular players in the here's where this kind of falls apart. Not really falls apart, but here's where I find this so interesting and why it makes for really good podcast topics. The 2 most popular players on this team, in my opinion, are John Rice Plumlee and Jerry and Ely. We're discussing the quarterback dynamic.
Yes.
Ely gets like 4 carries a game.
I know.
Ely doesn't get the ball. And now some of that's because of reads and stuff. We talked about
some
that.
Of there's a concussion against A&M in the first half. But yeah,
still.
Yeah, still. I know. Well, a lot of that is because Plumlee's getting all the carries.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The way the offense is structured, Plumlee is keeping the ball.
Which goes back to we're just jumping around, so forgive us.
It's fine. It is what it is today.
If you're going to have John Rice Plumlee as your primary quarterback, you better go get on the Jimmy Holiday train. You better go find you another quarterback. Because as we just saw against A&M, it's not sustainable. He's going to get hurt. So you got to you can't switch the offense up. As much as they tell us that the offense is the same, it doesn't look the same when Corral's in as when Plumlee's in. It doesn't look like they're doing the same thing.
The terminology is the same. That doesn't mean it's the same offense.
Yeah, it doesn't mean the timing is different. Yeah. All of those things. So what you kind of wonder is how much of this rotational thing where they're doing different stuff, how much of that has that impacted wide receiver development? How has that impacted offensive line development? I don't know. And I'm not saying it has or hasn't or it's good or bad, but they're different quarterbacks. I don't see how you can continue to do this long term, rotating these 2 really different kids.
And it might be nothing more than a way to try to keep both of them happy through the end of the season. Just searching for the end and then figure it out.
But if that were the case, it would make sense because you still had 3 more games that you could use Tisdale. It would make sense that you give him some reps here and they'll see what you got. We're at the end of this development season, if that's what it is. And again, I'm back. Here we go. How long did it take? What's our time marker?
Right now?
Yeah.
18 something.
Took 18 minutes because there's no leader in place over there to come out and verbally say something. So everybody over there thinks, man, the season's the coaches' jobs are on the line. And I don't know if they are or aren't. Beats me.
Yeah, we'll go there in a second. We'll take our first break. We'll come back. We'll talk about that. Continue this conversation. First about Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. Underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. You're getting local underwriting that understands your market. Leader in condo financing, the float down option. They with rates as low as they've been in about 2 years. Good time to talk to Jason at Community to lock in those rates. 662-234-2704 or JLOWE@communitymtg.com.
The podcast also brought to you by Oxford University Bank, OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB gives you the comfort of home, all the benefits the big mega banks provide, all the technology and products you can want, all with a personal touch. OUB offers its customers the absolute best cash checking account. It's called Kasasa. And with Kasasa, OUB will pay customers 2.5% interest on their balances up to $50,000. And with Kasasa, ATM fees nationwide are refunded. OUB also offers online bill pay and mobile check deposit using its online app. To learn more about OUB, check out liveoxfordbankoxford.com or call 662-234-2704. 6668. OUB is FDIC insured. The podcast also brought to you by Harry Alexander. Harry is an Oxford-based RE/MAX Legacy Realty agent. He's a big part of Savannah Square. It's a new 9-acre development, 0.7 of a mile from the Oxford downtown square. It's conveniently located east of North Lamar, just a short stroll from the Midtown Shopping Center. So what you need to do, if you're coming up for the games in November, if you're coming up for basketball, whatever the case may be, get in touch with Harry. You're thinking about moving to Oxford, think about retiring in Oxford, get in touch with Harry. Check out some of the homes in Savannah Square. They're in different stages of development. You can look at the model home at 215 William Street. You can go to the website, savannahsquareoxford.com, and then get in touch with Harry. He'll take care of the rest. 662-801-5621. And we're brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. Great lease deals as well. Give them a call. Go over and visit them. They're just off Interstate 55 in Grenada. Tell Gene and Sandy that you heard about Grenada Nissan on the podcast. You'll get Rebel savings on top of the already great deals at Grenada Nissan. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com.
Podcast also brought to you by Mastercuts Lawn and Landscape, premium lawn care throughout northern Mississippi. But they offer a lot more. Mastercuts will build custom playgrounds, retaining walls, pool decks, outdoor living spaces with paver patios, forestry mulching, and much more. The patch your dream backyard easier than you think. Go online at gomastercuts.com for a free quote or a call at 662-607-7773. Again, that's gomastercuts.com. Yeah, look, that's why this thing is so crazy and so complicated, because really committing to a year of development, really committing to a year where, hey, it is what it is. You come out and say that. Look, it's a tough deal. It's college football, which is the most emotional sport on the planet.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
You can't go too far because you've got a lot of seniors in that locker room. Guys have been through a lot. You got to at least try to get them into a good final season.
Sure.
You can't give up on upperclassmen.
Right.
You also have a hard time doing that when, as you said, there's no leadership. There's no, and I don't mean press conference crap vote of confidences. I mean votes of confidence, maybe. I don't know. Which way does that go?
Votes of confidence.
You think it's votes of confidence?
Yes.
So you can't do that either because you don't know. You might have to win that game. You don't know that you can lose that game against Vanderbilt or Arkansas or Mississippi State,
right?
Whomever it is. It's this convoluted thing where it's, hey, I get the bills due. I get that you're developing. I get we're building a program. I get that you're better. There's some improvements on especially the defensive side of the ball. I get you got a bunch of freshman quarterbacks and all these things over here in this pile that says, hey, just keep building. Just keep going. We're okay. We're better than last year because they are better than last year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
A lot better than last year.
Yes.
All these things are good. And then on the other side going, hey, that crowd against New Mexico State next week. Hey, that crowd against Vanderbilt. That Vanderbilt team's bad. Better win that one.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a schizophrenic situation going on right now where you got all sorts of voices in your head.
Rational.
Oh.
Emotional.
Well,
rational.
But even beyond that, like you said, no leadership. No, I don't know. I mean, it's not even irrational though. You don't know.
No, you don't know.
It's not irrational when you don't have a boss in permanent place to tell you what the situation is.
Yeah.
So unless Glenn Boyce has had conversations with Matt Luke that we don't know about, I don't know.
I was fixing the left side of my.
Okay.
Sorry. Bueller. No. I agree. And look.
It puts Matt in a really hard spot.
Matt's in a tough spot.
It puts Matt in a tough spot.
He's in a tough spot. Now he's making a lot of money to be in a tough spot, but he's in a tough spot.
Yeah, I'm not saying you need to feel sorry for him, but it's
like
a
people
tough
say,
spot.
why don't y'all ask tough questions? Because the tough questions to ask are too premature to ask them right now.
And they're not to him. He has no impact on attendance or money or any of that stuff.
No, he doesn't. We don't know who the athletics director is. We really don't know who's pulling the strings of the chancellor. I mean, I kind of do. Those people aren't going to answer the questions. They have plausible deniability. So there's nobody. There is this vacuum. Halloween is tomorrow. And as of this moment, to my knowledge, I don't think they've contacted anybody about this.
I'm not sure the committee's formed.
Yeah, they're going to hire a search firm. I think they've picked the search firm.
It's one they've had on retainer anyway.
Yeah.
It's not Bufkin and Baker. It's somebody else.
Yeah.
I forget the name. Not that I have a
I mean, we've gone back a little bit with our messaging. They're using the Ole Miss Spirit as their soundboard.
Thanksgiving is still doable, but you better get going.
Gotta hustle. I mean, Thanksgiving's doable to have somebody in place, but is that person, even if, let's use a hypothetical. Let's say it's John Hartwell who's lobbying like hell for the job. Okay? I mean, John Hartwell's calling everybody possible to call.
Okay.
Even though he's seeing it from afar and talking to people from afar, does he have enough time if he gets here? Let's say he gets here the Tuesday of Thanksgiving week. Is that enough time to fully evaluate where the program is, to make that big of a decision?
You don't have a number 2. You really don't have a number 3 in your department. Got a lot going on. Yeah, and if I'm the AD, I don't feel comfortable with that decision in 2 weeks. No matter if I have a decent idea or not, I really don't. I'm telling you, if I was hired and they said, hey, you got to figure out this football thing, barring me going into the CFO and going, hey, I need to see the books. I need you to tell me exactly what I'm losing either way. If that's not devastating, just as an AD and a leader, it's a leader to immediately come in and go, okay, I'm just axing. I don't know. That doesn't feel prudent.
Go one further to you.
Sure.
Let's say our boy Glenn doesn't get this done by Thanksgiving. The perception's going to be you kicked the can down the road so you couldn't, and then next season starts off really badly, he takes the heat. Not fair necessarily, not necessarily even accurate. That's what will happen.
Well, no, because, I mean, look, he's got to get this AD hire right. He's got to go right.
But he's got to get it done quickly, too. He doesn't have all day. He doesn't have time to form a profile and form a committee and talk to a lot of people and do all this. Not if he wants to take the heat off himself. So if I'm an AD, if I'm John Hartwell, for example, who I know wants the job so bad he doesn't know what to do, yeah, but I'm not taking this job if I'm going to get immediately stuck in this really bad spot where I've got to make this uninformed decision that's going to shape my perception. Look no further than the Matt Luke decision.
I mean, I would still be tempted to take the job where I'm getting paid whatever I'm getting paid.
But you understand what I'm saying. Look at the Matt Luke decision. He gets a job he didn't think he was getting, and his first decision is the one that still hangs over him. I'm going to keep these guys.
Here's still the deal, too. In today's world, the AD kind of gets one, in some instances, one football coach hired to be tied to. There's no guarantee you get that second hire in today's world.
Right.
So you're making a change immediately. You not only got to make that change, you got to get that hire right, or your tenure is screwed in 2 years. I mean, there's a lot of high stakes going on here.
Sure. Yeah, they talk about him finding a Mississippi. That appears to be a major hang-up, finding people that have Mississippi ties. John's been at Ole Miss before, so I guess that counts.
Yeah, I think he went to the Citadel.
Yeah. I think his wife went here.
He's been at Troy and Utah State since Ole Miss.
There is an obsession with it.
I think he spent 7 years here.
I feel comfortable saying this. In the chancellor search, the someone with Mississippi ties was a huge deal. Huge deal.
What was the number 2 point on the 10-point power?
Yeah, but I think the way the decision was made, it was the number 1 point.
Well, Boyce decided it should be very high on the profile.
Yes.
Yes, Chris asked a question on the live chat. What if Hartwell had known he was going to get the AD position for a while? Is it inconceivable he's already vetted head coaches? Yeah, but he doesn't know that.
He doesn't know that.
No.
And if he had been vetting head coaches, the way this works, that stuff would have gotten out.
Yeah.
Agents chat.
More than maybe any humans on Earth.
Yeah.
They're on their phone a lot.
I mean, let's say you represented, I'm going to use somebody that I know is not in this so that I don't. Let's say you represented Dino Babers at Syracuse.
Okay. You don't think Dino's in this?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I have no reason to know that, but I would guess not. If you know that an SEC school is vetting your guy and you're trying to get a little bit more cash out of Syracuse, or maybe you're trying to get the whatever job, you leak that. That's how it works. That's how the game's played.
You want to make Syracuse a little uncomfortable.
And people say, well, why do you guys in the media do that? Well, because it's a scratch your back, scratch my back thing. I leaked that for you, and then when we get closer to
time, help me out.
Yeah, you're going to help me.
And don't lie.
Right. That's the game. And I know people go, well, that's ridiculous. Well, a lot of things are ridiculous. Welcome to our worlds. You leaked something that you knew wasn't true. No, I leaked something that I don't necessarily believe, but could be true and could have a nugget of truth attached to it for something I'm going
There's
to get
a difference
down the road.
in not true and not going to happen.
Yes.
Those are not the same things.
Yeah.
Hey, there is interest in Dino Babers. Does that mean he's getting it? No.
Exactly.
Question on the chat. So does a new AD give Bianco a new contract? Is one season enough to evaluate baseball? I have no freaking idea.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We got enough on our plate right now to deal with this baseball thing.
You find out a lot. I mean, I'm really being serious here. We'll go here for a second. It's a Wednesday. We got a lot of stuff going on.
It's Game 7 tonight.
Dude, we'll get to that too.
I know.
You find out a lot about an AD's overall understanding of college athletics across the board with how they handle baseball coaches.
Yes.
Because baseball is such a weird deal, from the scholarship to basically how much money goes into the program now, how rosters work and different things. I mean, you've got some ADs out there that just lost when it comes to what to do with
Sure.
baseball situations. I mean,
Sure.
there are not a lot of people out there that truly get college baseball all the way up and down, and that is not an AD's primary focus. So sometimes some weird stuff happens from a baseball standpoint.
Yeah, and whoever gets this job, they're not getting to baseball for a little while. That's just down the road.
Yeah, that's back burner stuff. Hey, Kermit, please win for the love of God.
Yeah, well, you got to make sure he's happy.
Yeah,
number one. Well, number one, you got to get the football thing right. Whatever it is that you're doing, you got to get, and you got to message this thing better. You can't when there's no message. This is a university problem right now. When there is no message, there's just nothing.
Other than that long rambling letter, there's still not a chancellor message to any large constituency group.
No. And so there's in that void is chaos.
Yeah, it's a vacuum. It gets filled with something.
Yeah. And so you have that in football right now. So you need someone to come in and address that one way or the other. Address it. And then go to Kermit and go, hey, everything good? You good? All right. And then you get to Mike.
Yeah.
With, hey, it's going to be a little while. Just do me a favor and don't tank.
Barring a disaster season, I can't see anything happening there at the end of the year.
With all of the chaos,
it would defy logic.
It is illogical.
When in 2021, they're going to be good.
Yes.
He has a really good team in 2021. I told you this yesterday. 2020 is their worst team out of this 4-year period on paper. 2021, they're good.
Right now, the thought of it's ludicrous, man.
Yes, Kermit is the most popular employee on campus right now. Period.
Yes.
If I had been Glenn Boyce, I would have gone to Kermit the first day and said, "Good to meet you. I love you.
Yeah.
Can we go walk around campus?
Yeah.
Can we go to the frat houses, the sorority houses, the student council stuff? Can we go? Will you accompany me, please? That would be awesome. I love you. I love hoops.
You're saying that like you're joking. I'm totally serious.
No, that's what I would have done.
That's exactly
Kermit
what I
would have been
done.
the first dude on campus I point out. Hey, come with me. You good? We're gonna be buddies. You got dinner plans tonight?
Yeah.
Whatever's the most crowded restaurant in town, we're headed to that place tonight.
Yeah. Just so you know, I'm rolling your contract over right now. Okay?
It's done. Before you ever play a game.
You want a raise? Got it. All right, now come help me.
You want a $200,000 bump? All good. Yeah, you help me right now, and we'll grease some coffers later on.
Absolutely, but they didn't do that.
No,
they didn't do that. And spent basically a month.
No,
a few days short of a month, and there's no messaging.
That's what I would have done. Kermit's who I would have sought out.
Absolutely, no doubt.
He'll win any popularity contest on campus right now.
Yeah.
Period.
No, I agree. I would have absolutely done that.
Yeah.
I would have strolled around campus with Bree and Tyree. And, yeah. Just try to be every man for a minute. But it's too late for that.
It's too late now.
Yeah.
Yeah. 87,000 still in the pocket.
No, he's not. I told you the first day. Don't you think he gives that back? I'm like, no, he's not giving that back. Building a house in Madison.
Bricks are expensive.
You looked at the cost of a Viking range?
Sub-Zero fridges.
Those mustache trimmers do not grow on trees,
I'm
man.
sorry, guys. I'm in a weird mood today. I don't know. Yeah, I don't. Time-wise, we're fine.
Oh, we're good.
Yeah, I was just looking. Anything else? I don't know on this before we move on.
Well, it's like Jay Tate, they're working on the Know Thy Enemy story that they do each week.
The what?
Know Your Enemy story.
Okay.
And he says,
they call it your enemy?
Yeah.
That's kind of harsh.
He says, fair to say Elijah Moore is Ole Miss's best offensive player? And I said, yes. And he said, do they rotate these quarterbacks based on what they need at that moment? And I said, great question. He goes, it's seemingly random? And I'm like, I don't know. It's confusing. I don't know the rotation.
No, there's not appear to be a tendency to it.
It's the opposite of what makes standard sense. Frankly, what makes sense is Corral's the main one, and Plumlee comes in as the change of pace instead of Plumlee starting a series, and if it turns into 3rd and long, Corral comes in and you have one shot to bail it out. It's nonsensical. And it hasn't worked. It didn't work.
So we'll jump in here. We got 5 minutes or so before I gotta go to break. Let me pull it up. Sorry, people. Let me grab some. I have a thing up on my phone with it.
The great thing is we don't have to go to break. We're going to go to break, but we don't have to go to break. This isn't radio.
There's no hard break where the
sir.
music starts playing and you better get out of the.
Yeah, where Isaac's in the other room going 10, 9.
So I read a bunch of stuff about this whole NCAA deal yesterday. I did. Did you read a bunch?
I read a good bit.
Okay. The person that made the most sense for me, and usually these people are psycho to me, is For the Win. I think it might be a part of USA Today, if I'm right on that.
Okay.
So I'm going to read his first couple paragraphs here. You're getting this here from the live stream and the podcast. He says, on Tuesday, the NCAA made a major announcement. At first glance, it felt like a doozy. In a post to the NCAA.org website, the association's board of governors announced they had voted unanimously to permit students participating in athletics the opportunity to benefit from the use of their name, image, and likeness in a manner consistent with a college model. Again, at first glance, it seems like a huge deal. The state of California had just passed a law allowing college athletes, blah, 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 blah. But pause and read closely the last few words of that opening paragraph. In a manner consistent with the collegiate model. It's a very sneaky rhetorical move right there. The collegiate model doesn't allow athletes to get paid, so what it does mean to have athletes earn off their likeness in a manner consistent with the college model, who knows? Then he says, read the next paragraph. The Board of Governors' actions direct each of the NCAA's 3 divisions to immediately consider updates to relevant bylaws and policies for the 21st century. This is where things get a bit hairy, he writes. I'll admit I had to read it a few times to even understand what it meant. When I finally got it, I almost had to tip my hat to the NCAA. This is a classic bit of doublespeak that anyone who's covered the association knows well. It's one of their finest efforts so far. The Board of Governors did not make a change to the bylaws which make it legal for athletes to make money off their likeness. They issued a, quote, action which tells the 3 divisions to consider updates. Basically, they're ordering the divisions to think about things. All they did was add committees to this now.
Yeah.
You're going to have more committees, more subcommittees, and then a lot of red tape that is going to create freaking chaos moving forward.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee that they're ever getting paid. I think there's going to be hard caps. I was reading, what is it, Michael McCann of SI that does the legal stuff? I've got his up too. We can pull that up later. He was making points about how they're probably going to even throw conflict of interest in here. Like if you're a Nike school, you can't do New Balance, for instance, or Adidas. There's no guarantee they're not going to put all this in some debit situation that can only be used for academic purposes in your bookstores and things. They never say money. They say compensation. There is going to be more red tape involved with this than anything I've ever seen, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's why I was amazed yesterday at publications like the Associated Press, basically.
I think you've got to get, in my opinion, and again, here's as we give all this speculation and guesses, no one really knows. We're a long way from this being a thing. They want 2021 to be a target date for any of this, to even have a sort of an outline of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think you're even going to potentially have a deal where you have to get every one of them approved through some sort of clearinghouse. How quickly is that bitch going to move through?
It's not going to happen.
So what's going to happen?
Nothing. Yesterday was about just some politically correct speech
He was buying time is what he was doing.
Kick the can down the road.
He was buying time.
And the national media, for the most part, because they have become so flyover, nobody even digs into anything anymore. They report, breaking news.
Our boy Dan wrote something, too. I'm looking for his. Did you read his yesterday?
Yeah. You did not see my response.
Oh, no, I didn't see this. Did you respond to
I did.
our buddy?
I responded that, that means the football season is canceled. Now now LSU football knows how the Expos felt.
What?
Dan said after talking to Mark Emmert.
Oh, yeah.
That it was obvious that they were just not going to basically go along with anything where the kids got paid to pick a school. And it's like, come on, man. I'm just done with the naivete.
That's why they keep doing the collegiate model thing, is they're trying to find some way to make sure they only get paid while in school. But again, I don't think it's paid. I don't think it's money. Or at least I don't think it's what we're thinking of as money. Does that make sense?
Sort of.
Like I said, I think it's like, here's money down the road, or here's some debit program you can use on these things, or here's some sort of random stupid compensation that's not actually just, hey, here, go sign your contract at market value and move on with your day.
No, I don't think they're willing to go there, and that's why these states are. That's what's interesting.
Yeah.
So you say, what's going to happen? Well, here's
real quick. Emirates quote is, quote, everybody that's been involved in this conversation is really concerned about what an unregulated third-party endorsement model could mean, and there's very little support for that. So the discussions have been about how you create a regulatory framework for how you can allow some portion of that, but not have it become just another form of a recruiting model.
That's so naive, and it's intentionally naive.
Emirate again says one of the other clear distinctions is often overlooked by the general public is the collegiate model is also predicated upon students being recruited and making their own choice about where they're going to go. There's no draft. It's not the Olympics where you go by the virtue of your passport. So even though we all recognize some schools have advantages and disadvantages in the recruitment, one of the biggest concerns the working group has spent a lot of time on, they've had a working group, by the way, for months now, since June.
Boy, I bet they've gotten some
Maybe
stuff
May.
done.
Is how do you allow liberalization, that word doesn't fit there, and not have it just become part of the recruiting wars? That's going to be one of the biggest challenges in coming up with real bylaws. That's why I think whatever system, stupid thing they're going to come up with is going to have to be cleared by some sort of clearinghouse, and it is going to be one of those deals where you've got to be a current athlete. There can be no conflicts of interest. It's probably going to go towards certain things. I mean, this is going to be is regulated, if it happens at all,
What happens,
to an extent that's going to make our heads spin.
What happens when California and Texas and these states say, you know what, you have a right to do it, go do it, and then the kid does it? Is the NCAA going to declare that kid ineligible? Is the NCAA going to declare that school ineligible? Are they going to strip
The entire state of California?
Well, that's where we're headed right now. So when the quarterback at USC does a deal with the local Chrysler dealership, hey, I drive a Chrysler and you should too. Go Trojans, let's get him. Is he immediately ineligible? When they pay him, I don't know, $1,500 a month. I'm just throwing numbers out, boys and girls. Hey, your Los Angeles area Chrysler dealer loves the Trojans, and so do I, and you should too. Go Trojans. Here's your $1,500. Is he ineligible? That moment, he didn't violate a state law. The money's taxable. He fills out a 1099 or whatever. What happens then? Does the NCAA come hammer him? And then when he does, when the kid sues the NCAA, what happens then? I'm not asking you to give answers. I'm just saying this is what comes to my mind. If the states are really going to go forward with this, and most of them appear willing to do it, what happens then? When the quarterback at Florida says, I drive a Nissan and you should too. Go Gators. Here's my $1,500. When they put up a billboard of the quarterback at Florida State, football in hand, hand on a Nissan Pathfinder. I drive a Pathfinder, and man, you should too. Check out your local Tallahassee Nissan dealers. Go Noles. And he gets paid. Because right now he's marketable.
I think he would have to. I think you're going to have to submit a request and then wait 8 weeks to be told whether you can do it or not. I think it's where we end up going.
It's not what the state
law
says,
even
but that's not what the state law says.
Well, I think.
And so your answer is the NCAA goes, if you do it that way, you're ineligible.
Yeah.
The backlash against the NCAA at that point.
Since when do they care?
Well, they don't.
They've never cared.
No.
It's it's another step toward a separation eventually.
That's where I'm headed.
Maybe not now, maybe not in 5 years, maybe not in 10 years, but that's where we're headed. That's where we keep taking little steps here and there and here and there and here and there.
Someone asked a good question. Who would Corey Clark pick? What Corey would do if he did it is he would get a kid from Mississippi State and a kid from Ole Miss. You don't alienate. You do both.
Yeah.
That's why some people go, it's the playing field. It might actually move towards somewhat leveling the playing field. Look, Alabama's always going to be up here and other schools are going to be down here. But if you're a car dealer in Birmingham, I don't know why we're picking on car dealers today. If you're a car dealer in Birmingham and you're wanting to advertise through intercollegiate sports and you're going to go with a player,
you're picking multiple players.
Well, you're picking the quarterback at Alabama and the quarterback at Auburn, or the running. And
you're probably going to grab a running back at UAB just for the heck of it.
Yeah, just because I don't want to piss those people off too, because their money is green also.
Yeah, they're the local team.
They drive cars too.
Yeah. So Bo Nix and Tua and whomever Bill Clark deals with.
Or just whoever, some marketable kid from Homewood that's a starting linebacker for the Blazers.
Yeah.
Put his butt on the billboard too, right?
Uh-huh.
Or however it works, your TV ad. You bring them all in there one day in July, and they wear their jersey, and
here we are.
Horse around for a couple hours, and you make a couple ads, and it's cool. Not talking about big money here.
I'll pull up Michael McCann's thing in a second, read some of those questions to you, kind of continue this conversation as we're trying to figure out just what it means other than nothing. Before I'll tell you about visit oxfordms.com/events. Go there to see everything going on in town. Football season returns back to Oxford in a week, and then you'll get the double-decker bus tours and all that. But for now, tomorrow night, Halloween night, Thacker Mountain Radio Hour, 6 to 7:30 at All Square Books. You've also got the Rocky Horror Picture Show screening at the Powerhouse from 8 to 10, and then tons of stuff the first week of November. So bookmark it, check it out, and see what's going on locally in Oxford. That's visit oxfordms.com/events.
Podcast also brought to you in part by John Edwards of Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you've been trying to think about planning the trip that your loved ones will never forget, your friends will never forget, I highly suggest getting in touch with John. I'm in the process of doing it right now. It's really kind of cool. You just give John some parameters, give him a budget, give him some ideas, and then sit back and let him he'll put together some options. There's no commitment until you commit. It's free to get the quote. It's free to get the ideas. It's 901-494-3387. He's part of Virtuoso. It's a worldwide network of travel partners. Allows him to supply his clients with added values, unique benefits that are simply not available to other travelers. Again, 901-494-3387, or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. It's a podcast that's also brought to you by the Westin Jackson. The Westin Jackson is home to Soul Spa, the ultimate luxury spa experience in downtown Jackson. It's also home to Estelle Wine Bar and Bistro, where you can sip on a creative craft cocktail, enjoy their curated wine list. It's open for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. Chef Caden's mission is to connect guests with the community through local partnerships, so gather at Estelle tonight. By the way, they sponsor my mailbag, which should be up later this morning. It's basically done. I need to tweak a couple of things. Also, what will be up later today is a Mind on My Money podcast. It is brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Today's podcast will feature the aforementioned Corey Clark, though we did not talk about giving advertising money to quarterbacks. We talked about a lot of predatory lending, basically. So you'll want to hear that. It's on the Mind on My Money podcast, brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Pinnacle Trust, based in Madison, Mississippi. They specialize in providing detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much more. At Pinnacle Trust, investing is treated like a commodity. Decisions are made using objective information and research, not emotions. So regardless of your level of wealth, Pinnacle Trust will sit down with you, listen to your goals, study your expenses, and put forth a comprehensive, detailed financial and retirement plan built just for you. It's pintrust.com, PINNtrust.com. Mention you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the podcast. You'll get 10% off your first year's fee.
So, a couple of the questions he had, I'm just trying to go over some of those here because I thought he's always very, very good as far as analyzing some. Yeah. From the standpoint. And what I was referencing here is his first question, ES10, is will college athletes be able to be paid for their NIL rights? This is also kind of confusing because NIL is name, image, likeness versus NLI, National Letter of Intent, and I keep transposing these.
It's thrown me off a few times too.
I'm having a really hard time. It says the NCAA statement references athletes receiving, quote, a benefit, a word that might imply pay but can alternatively mean a far more restrictive form of compensation, such as a debit account that athletes could use only for academic-related purposes. Think of a gift card that would only work in certain places like campus dining or a bookstore. He throws that out there.
Okay.
Great. Thanks. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Says here, would you be able to do it during your college experience, or would it be put in some sort of account for afterward, too, as well? He mentions the O'Bannon decision, and then he said that schools will be obligated to pay men's basketball and football players up to $5,000 per year while they were in school for the use of their NIL rights. Transmission of such payment would have occurred after the players graduated. This stipulation was later vacated in the North Circuit's ruling, but it's the kind of system articulated what the NCAA might have in mind, meaning you'd have to put in some sort of trust or account.
And what if you didn't graduate? Date. What if you went pro?
I think when your eligibility ceases would be the way that it would.
Okay.
I think that's a poor word there. I think when your eligibility was over. Here's an interesting part, too. Does it allow college athletes to hire agents to negotiate these details? Don't know the answer to that, but if...
That'd be a first. A current player with an agent?
Well, I mean, what if you just had advisors? You know, because, I mean, in baseball we have advisors.
Right.
Totally different thing.
Oh, totally different, man. I mean, whoa. Now, it just happens that the advisors then become an agent.
Well, but they all stay within the rules. I'll be honest. It's really we're calling a lot of things. We're really into hyperbole today. We're calling a lot of things the dumbest thing or one of the dumber things NCAA does. It is such an injustice to those baseball players, though, to not be able to get in the room agenting done.
Yes.
Because these clubs are calling these kids and going, hey, look, here's the deal. If we take you at the 92nd pick, here's $850,000. And now you have 2 minutes to make that decision.
Literally.
Taking complete advantage of the kids' lack of ability to have an agent in the room with them. It's
totally
ridiculous.
Agree. I totally agree. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, you're putting these kids at a huge disadvantage.
Sometimes in the calls being made while the kid's playing.
Yeah.
It's unfair.
Well, Ryan Rollinson, he was in the dugout.
Yeah, it's happened to a kid at South Carolina last year, if I recall correctly.
There's a kid like on deck when he was drafted.
Yeah, well, the kid from UCLA was on deck when the Cubs drafted him. He literally came up to bat, hit a home run, and then took the call. And by then it was like, well, we took you.
Take it or don't take it. This is where I was mentioning a second ago, too. His fifth question. Can a college's compliance staff reject a player's proposed endorsement deal or other proposed NIL contract? The NCAA seems inclined to ensure that colleges, not the athletes, ultimately control the extent of which athletes negotiate the use of their rights. Michael Drake, who's the chair of the NCAA board and president of Ohio State University, recently stressed that any NIL rule changes can't morph college sports into professional sports. That sentiment likely won't be lost on Gene Smith, the working group's co-chair, whose boss at Ohio State is Drake. So, yeah, it feels like there's a compliance portion of this that will happen as well for them to basically say no to anything they would like to say no to. That's my guess.
They like that word.
Well, and good luck. Good luck getting uniformity across college sports with compliance departments. I mean, we've been through that rodeo for a few years now. Some of that stuff make your head spin.
You don't say.
It's a possibility. Yeah. I'm not. That is not a ball yarn I'm going to unroll today. I'm not in the mood. But yes, the head would spin with some of that stuff. So yes, he mentions here the New Balance thing that I mentioned. That's where I got that from. Essentially, how conflict of interest could be very real from a school to a player across what would be accessible and legal and not.
Yeah.
It brings a whole lot of stuff into play.
Brings a lot of the stuff, like, so if you're a Nike school and your kid's wearing Nike, should the kid get a portion of that shoe contract? I don't know. Here's what I can tell you. One of the things that is coming, and I don't know when it's coming, but it's coming, when the student athletes band together, that's where they do have control. When a team won't take the court, won't take the field, when two teams won't take the court, won't take the field, And it's easier to start getting some of that stuff organized with today's social media.
I'll give you one here that does not affect many players. It might have affected Gleason a few years ago. His 10th question. How might receipt of rights impact a foreign player's immigration status? And he pulls in that some college athletes are foreign students who are typically enrolled in F1 visas. The visas limit the number of hours a student on a visa can work to up to 20 hours, which happens to match NCAA rules that limit college athletes to 20 hours per week for playing and practicing. To that extent, college athletes are considered employees, or to the extent of their involvement in negotiation could lead to reconsideration of their visa status and have immigration law complications.
Wow.
Because it would push it above 20 hours for the week, which is what the immigration visa allows.
So that would impact a Sebastian Saiz.
That sort of deal.
Sort of a player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just things to think about that do not matter whatsoever right now, because it's going to be years.
Yeah.
This was taking a huge can and just kicking that son of a gun.
Well, they kicked it 2 years down the road for sure.
Yeah. 2021 going, hey, we got some committees, we got some commissions, we got some working groups. Apparently that's the name of things now, is working groups.
Good time at St. Elmo.
Y'all come to Indianapolis. We'll have a meeting.
You're going to have a meeting, go get some shrimp cocktail.
Gonna get a porterhouse.
Absolutely.
Maybe a bone-in ribeye if y'all are really good boys.
Ooh, now you got to be really good to get one of those.
Some au gratin potatoes.
You can get some of that.
Get some potatoes.
Yeah. Maybe have a Bud Light.
Top shelf rye in your Sazerac tonight.
Oh, I don't think that the NCAA people consume alcoholic beverages of that nature. They're very serious people. They're dealing with very serious worldly topics. You can't have whiskey in your system and do that. God, it's almost like you pay no attention. Can't drink and make decisions that impact the future of intercollegiate athletics.
One thing we didn't mention on the quarterback thing is Robby Ashford shows up. That also is going to throw another body into this thing, who appears to be very, very talented.
But is Robby Ashford, is he a John Rice Plumlee sort of quarterback? Or is he a Grant Tisdale, Matt Corral sort of quarterback? Or is he a different quarterback altogether?
Well, what's the answer?
I don't know. I'm going to ask Chad Simmons. I'm going to get Chad Simmons on the show.
I'll say this, too. Robby Ashford's also a two-sport kid. Need to handle the Plumlee-Ely stuff well this spring from an Ashford standpoint. He'll be watching.
Yeah. Of course he will.
You got a lot of two-sport dudes right now kind of coming through at the moment. And right now, Ashford's not a prospect that's going to get plucked, but he's good.
Yeah.
It could happen.
He has skill. I will touch base with Simmons and get an evaluation of Ashford, not in terms of his star rating and all that stuff.
His play.
Just his play. What's his style? The video I've watched is he can really sling it.
He's good.
But he throws the ball. He's not a run first guy. He's a pass first guy. If I'm viewing it correctly.
I was pulling up Ashford's baseball stuff.
Okay.
He is the number 123rd national ranked player in the country. He is the number 1 player in the state of Alabama.
It's pretty good.
He, let's see, where's kind of his data? He hasn't been to a lot of camps and events and stuff, so I don't have a ton of data on him. That's what I was trying to see, figure out if I could find it.
Yes, the two-sport athlete, his scholarship counts in football. He's a
walk-on for everything else.
He's free in baseball, if you will.
It's very handy for the women's baseball program if they help at all.
Of course.
It's very handy. They need a roster spot, but they do not need a scholarship.
Right. That's why you're flexible.
So you're on the 35, but you're not on the 27 or the 11.7.
Right.
Baseball's stupid. There's lots of roster limitations and caps and different things. Perfect Game, by the way, has him at 6'4", 210 from a height weight standpoint on Robby Ashford.
So he's a pro-style quarterback.
Sure.
That's just kind of my thing. I don't know. I'm hung up on it. I got to get less hung up on it because people think I'm hating. I'm not at all. I'm not saying going the Plumlee route's not the thing to do. I just think if you're going to go the Plumlee route, you got to go the Plumlee route. You got to go all the way. Jump in.
But like you said, that only happens if you've got another one coming down the line. I mean, you're not going to completely change your strategy for 2 or 3 years. In theory,
you got to make it your program identity. Georgia Tech did it for years.
Well,
I know, but that's my point. If you're going to do it, that's what you do. Does that make sense?
No, I get it. Yeah.
You have to have a plan.
I mean, frankly, they've struggled developing wide receivers this year. I'm still not sure who the number 2 receiver is.
I'm not sure either.
I mean, take your pick.
I don't think Ashford's a December grad. I think he's going to play high school baseball.
Tells you how old we're all getting. Ashford's birthday, October 1st, 2002.
Wow.
2002.
Well, I mean, I have a kid that was born in 2001 and a kid that was born in 2003 and a kid that was born in 2006. One's in college. One's a year away from college, basically. Sad times, man. I look in the mirror and all I see is old.
All you see is old.
Old.
It's a country song for you.
Is it? Yeah, I should write that.
So you mentioned it. Get a World Series Game 7.
Yeah,
one of the more fun days in sports for the most part.
Boys.
They fired the guy, so are you still anti-Astros?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're not out just because of that?
No, I'm all in on the Nats. One more day on the Nat train.
Verlander hasn't been very good. It's been okay, but he's not been dominant by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, the Nationals did do him what they've done to teams, frankly, since Memorial Day.
Yeah,
they wore him out. They wore his. They rode his.
He was at 60 pitches early in the 4th.
Well, they were
Maybe the 3rd.
Rendon had an at bat that resulted in a base hit. That was 11, 12 pitches.
I love him.
Oh God,
I love him.
I mean, if there was a way, and there's not a way. It's the only scenario in which I'm cool with the Chris Bryant trade.
If it has something to do with Rendon?
If Rendon's on the flip side as my new third baseman, he's so in. And can I just tell you who else I love?
He's one of my favorite college players of the last 10 years, Rendon.
Yeah. Okay, so 2 things last night.
Sure. Hey, I'll throw this hot take out there. I thought the umpire got the call right.
Who I didn't.
Did you not?
No, I didn't. I thought he missed the call.
He was that line was. To stay out of that situation unless you are trying to impact the throw.
But he swung. So we'll start there.
Okay.
Right-handed hitter.
Yep.
Trey Turner.
Yeah. Also a great college player. Go ahead.
Yeah. Takes kind of an off-balance swing.
Sure.
The ball goes down the dribbler down the third baseline.
It does.
And he starts off well inside the line. And over the course of running the 90 feet, he veers to the right.
Okay.
By the time he gets to the bag, which is all that really matters, he's in the baseline. It was a bad throw. If the pitcher makes a good throw, we don't have this conversation. He made a bad throw.
Do you think he threw it there on purpose?
No, I think he made a bad throw.
Okay.
I think he was rushing. It was Game 6 of the World Series.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it was close enough to put the umpire in a very difficult situation.
Well, that's for sure. And then this is where Major League Baseball's got to get better. These old and look.
Well, I'm in full agreement here.
I hate Holbrook, the home plate umpire.
Yeah.
Holbrook damn near cost my team a World Series 3 years ago. I still cringe at some of the pitches that Kyle Hendricks threw in the 5th inning of Game 7. Literally, I will wake up thinking about it. He threw 2 strikes to strike out Carlos Santana in that game that would have ended the 5th inning and stopped the whole John Lester coming out of the bullpen and David Ross not being warm and all that stuff. We would have never gone down that path. And quite frankly, Game 7 would have been much easier on my brain, on my soul, and my liver.
Okay.
So I hold that against Holbrook.
All right.
He's a horrible umpire.
Okay.
But when you do the, 10-minute thing, only to find out you can't even review this and they can't protest this, what are we talking about?
And look, it's Game 6 of the World Series. Even if it was in June, it was ridiculous. But you have to understand the intensity involved at that moment. The umpires, Major League umpires, are the worst officials in sports from the standpoint of agitation and attitude. Awful.
Yeah, Major League Baseball.
And baseball does nothing to curtail it. Nothing.
Major League
Baseball. It's
Baseball.
so old man yelling at cloud.
Because that was If Rendon doesn't hit a home run right there, the Nationals were rattled.
Yeah.
It reminded me, I'll tell you what it reminded me of. They had the body language of the Cubs in the moments immediately after Steve Bartman.
That's what I was about to say, 0-3.
They had that. They were rattled. They were so rattled.
Was Gonzalez before or after Bartman? The error.
Oh, it was
short.
after.
Okay.
After.
It was after? Okay.
Yeah, it was the play that we used. So, God, this is not going to end well.
Okay.
Yeah, when Bartman happened, it was just a foul ball. Still a man on second, 1 out. No big deal.
Yeah.
Then he walked him.
And then the error.
And then, walked him, runner to third, ground ball to short, error. I don't know.
So many parallels to that in the button throw for Ole Miss. How it spiraled after, that it just changed everything.
I wrote that column that moment.
Yeah. I remember that. Go ahead.
That, hey, you're not going to get over this anytime soon.
Yeah.
Don't kid yourself. This is going to hurt for a long time. Trust me. If Rendon doesn't hit a home run right there, this is the legacy of this World Series, is that call. It's umpiring. It's the review system. It's why can't we figure out how to get this right? Major League Baseball is indebted to Anthony Rendon today. Because now we get a Game 7, Greinke versus presumably Scherzer.
Everybody loves some Game 7s.
And the other thing that was, okay, so I watched this game with a 13-year-old boy last night. He stayed up, watched all of it. I told him, hey, man, in between innings, go get your bed ready, go brush your teeth, do all that stuff. But I understand that you want to watch every pitch of this, and I'm going to let you because we'll figure it out. And he loved the Bregman home run. And then he loved the Soto home run. And baseball just loses their mind over this stuff. Soto's response to me was awesome, which was, no, I wasn't retaliatory. I watched him do it, and I thought, that's cool. And if I ever do it, I'm going to do that too. And I'm like, yeah, good.
Look, I didn't follow any of the interviews afterward at all. Okay.
Well, Bregman was almost in tears.
Well, see, that's my point. That's what I was getting to. I was reading this on Twitter, so tell me if I'm wrong. Did Hinch and Altuve ask him to apologize? That's the way Twitter was alluding, was that Altuve was very pissed off about it and basically wanted Bregman to apologize. Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
Altuve was bothered.
Why?
I don't know. The whole respect the game thing. Alex Bregman does respect the game. It's all he's ever done. He's one of the best 5 college players I've ever laid eyes on.
Yeah, he's good.
He's a dominant Major League Baseball player. If they win, he'll be the MVP.
It's him or Soto.
Yeah. Well, or Rendon.
Okay, fair enough.
It's been a hell of a series.
Yeah.
He got in the emotion. How many Game 6s are you going to play in your life? I mean, he's played a couple now. But that's one of the 5 biggest baseball games he's ever played up until last night. You hit a home run.
He did crush that son of a gun.
Off Steven Strasburg.
Yeah.
In Game 6 of the World Series at home. In a game that could clinch the World Series. Yeah, you're a little pumped up. And so he carried the bat.
He didn't throw it at anybody.
No. It's all good.
He didn't stare at Strasburg.
And if it pissed off the Nationals, so be it. Yeah. And then Soto hits a bomb. Here's this 20-year-old kid who's fantastic. I mean, look, I'm not a Nationals fan. I mean, all jokes aside.
Yeah, of course.
But when that guy hits, when I'm flipping in here and I'm playing on my computer or whatever, and I'm watching baseball during the season and Juan Soto comes up. Huh?
Did you buy the cap?
Yeah.
Or somebody give it to you?
I told you they did the Lord's work, and I felt like I owed them something.
Okay, go ahead.
Every time he comes up, I'm in. I'm in. He is one of a handful of players that when he's at the plate, I stop and watch. Like Laura's like, hey, can you come? I will as soon as this at-bat's over. I love the stare at the pitcher and then when the pitcher gets him out, he's not mouthing off. He tips his hat sometimes. He did it last night. Verlander dropped a curveball in on him, and he was like, oh, that was good. That was good. That was good. I'm good. I like that. More importantly, I'm 50. I'm going to be dead soon. My 13-year-old son, which is the audience that they're losing, he loved it. He loves watching Soto hit. He loves watching Altuve hit.
There's a cast of players that can drag in that demographic and that generation if they would just let them be normal.
Yeah.
And speed the dang thing up a little bit.
Yeah. Got to speed the game up. Game's taking too long.
Except go look at games from 50 years ago. And I get it's not the same, but hey, 2 hours, 12 minutes.
Yeah, World Series games.
2:20.
Yeah. Well, it's why the NBA is so good. Had this conversation with somebody the other day. An NBA game starts at 7. It's over at 9:15.
Set your watch to it.
Done.
NFL games, 3 hours, 5 minutes.
Yep, done. That noon game's going to be over about 3:05, 3:10. The 3:25 game's going to get going. It's going to be over by 6:30. You can flip over to NBC and watch 30 minutes of the pregame, and then there's your ball game.
Here's a question. Got one for you. What's the viewing numbers going to be tonight for the Houston Rockets and the Washington Wizards playing in D.C.?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. How ironic.
Yeah.
Not good.
Not good tonight
Not good.
in the D.C. area.
You'll find
seriously, if you're the people in charge of the event center, where they play in D.C., what's the name of the arena?
It's right there
I don't even
downtown.
know.
I can't think of the name of it.
Whatever.
Verizon Center or something.
Don't you consider just throwing it up on the screen at midcourt the whole damn game? No, I'm being really serious.
Yeah. Now, the NBA,
if you're in the arena,
the NBA would probably get mad, but yeah.
I'd be considered, hey, I got to give them a panel. I got to give them a TV. I got to give them a board, something.
Yeah.
If they're willing to come sit through this. Now, I'll tell you, there might be
I'll tell you
Nationals
what,
fans that are so damn nervous, they're going to that game to avoid the other.
You'll find out tonight who your diehard Wizards fans are.
Because they are.
Because if they show up for that one and they're not watching the Nats, they're in.
But you only get the Rockets in town a couple times a year.
Well, that's true. Westbrook and Harden and all that stuff, yeah.
Check your phone, and if the Nationals are winning like the 7th inning, you go, I'm going to go find a bar now.
And if you're running a sports bar in Houston and the guy comes in and goes, hey, man, turn the Rockets on, you're like, dude. Come on.
Yeah, no, but
it's October the 30th. That's Game 7. Chill.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow you're all in.
All right. Podcast brought to you in part by Tyson Drugs and G&M Pharmacy on G&M. That's on South Lamar. 662-236-2222. Go get your flu shot. $0 copay on most insurance plans. You don't have to wait in line, anything like that. Instead, they'll get you out as quickly and painlessly as possible. There with Holly Springs. It's Tyson Drugs in the Square, or G&M there on South Lamar. Again, 662-236-2222.
We'll have picks up tomorrow. They're sponsored by Southern Craft Stove and Tap. Remind me to talk to you about that afterwards. It was going to slip my mind.
Okay.
Located off Highway 7 and Sisk Avenue, Southern Craft Stove and Tap places an emphasis on food and atmosphere, mixing the quality of fine dining with a come-as-you-are environment, featuring 30 craft beers and offering a high-quality selection of cuisine and libations. Southern Craft Stove and Tap has you covered for any occasion. Join them for lunch, dinner, Sunday brunch, or have your favorites catered out. Catering orders placed online currently receive $25 off any order totaling $100 or more, so avoid the chaos of parking on the square. Head over and experience carefully crafted dishes with your favorite Southern ingredients. Southern Craft Stove and Tap, Highway 7 and Sisk Avenue in Oxford. Dead Soxy, just like you, is disappointed in the Rebel season, but that doesn't mean you have to lose in your battle against sock slippage. Unlike their beloved Rebels, they don't lose with their patented technology to prevent both crew and no-show socks from slipping. To their custom sock design program, Dead Soxy is always winning. Kickstart some positive vibes into your wardrobe and head over to deadsoxy.com. That's DEADSOXY.com. Enter the code Rebel Grove at checkout for 30% off your entire order. And as always, stay Soxy. Blue Delta Jeans is rolling out a very special limited run edition of jeans made with fabric from the Cone Denim White Oak Mill in Greensboro, North Carolina. In 2017, after more than 110 years of continuous production, Cone Denim closed the doors of the White Oak Mill. At its peak, White Oak was the world's largest denim plant, employing more than 2,500 workers. To celebrate and preserve this iconic American-made textile brand, Blue Delta is announcing a limited run of 30 jeans made with fabric secured at the closing of the mill. This offer is available to Blue Delta customers with patterns on file. To learn more, please DM on Instagram or Twitter at Blue Delta Jeans or email info@bluedeltajeans.com. And as always, The Blue Delta team is on the road this week. Atlanta, Chattanooga, and Little Rock are some of the stops. Additionally, on Saturday, Blue Delta will be set up with the Houston, Texas chapter of the Ole Miss Alumni Association at Bungalow Heights for their Ole Miss football watch party. Everyone who attends will have a chance to win a signed baseball from Ole Miss great David DeLucci. So come on out for a great time and get measured for some Blue Delta jeans. And we're brought to you by Splinter Creek. Splinter Creek is a gated conservation community located 8 miles southwest of Oxford, 75 minutes from the Memphis airport. It's splintercreekms.com. You can give Tom Smith Land and Home agents a call, 601-898-2772. They'll take you on a tour that you will thoroughly enjoy. It's 34 lakefront lots ranging in size from 2 to 25 acres, 650 acres of lakes, pine, and hardwood forest, 6 miles of private roads. It's well-maintained running, cycling, and hiking trails. It's a preserve for turkey and deer, a flyway for birds, home to bald eagles. It's absolutely spectacular. If you're thinking about moving to Oxford, if you're thinking about retiring in Oxford, you owe it to yourself to check Splinter Creek out. It's an absolutely phenomenal area. SplinterCreekMS.com. And again, that number is 601-898-2772.
So, yeah, anyway, closing the World Series thoughts. I'm all in tonight. I'm in.
Yeah, Game 7.
Yeah, you're always in on Game 7.
Max Scherzer, Zach Greinke.
Is this game important for Greinke's legacy?
Sure, it's important for everybody's legacy.
Yeah,
it's a Game 7.
Feels like it's bigger for him. Like we're at Verlander, okay, it's another opportunity, another thing. But, I don't know, something about Greinke tonight, I feel like this really kind of sets his – he and Scherzer both.
Well, it's a big moment for the Astros because they brought in Zach Greinke for this game, knowing that knowing that his contract would cost them Garrett Cole.
Going for it now.
Yeah, well, here's the other thing tonight. How available is Garrett Cole tonight? How available is Steven Strasburg tonight?
Not Strasburg.
Jake Arrieta was warming up in Game 7 a night after pitching Game 6. A lot of money on the line.
Garrett Cole's agent is eating Tums right now.
Oh, Steven Strasburg's agent is just right now, his stomach is battery acid.
Hey, Scherzer, I'm gonna need 8 scoreless out of you tonight, bud. Let's not make this a thing.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine? Strasburg's agent, he can't keep anything down today. He's gotten to the finish line.
Hey, Steven, sore shoulder, right? Sore? A little sore today? Not doing well? That lactic acid building up on you a little bit? Thanks. Appreciate that.
But he's a competitor. And you know 1-1 in the 7th, 8th inning, he's going up to Davey Martinez going, I got one.
Where's Cole going to go?
The Angels.
The Angels. Okay.
Yep.
Think so.
Going to the Angels. Yeah, he's gonna pitch for Joe Madden. Always been heading west.
Always going west.
Yeah. Strasburg's the interesting one. Does he opt out and then do a kind of a new deal with the Nats? Or does he say, hey, I got you there. I'm gone. Rendon's fascinating. This could be his last night in a Nationals uniform. Hey, man, Davey Martinez could win a World Series tonight.
Yeah.
Davey Martinez could win a World Series tonight.
Justifies all so much for the Nationals with a win tonight. It's already really been justified, but talk about just complete turn every flame off. Everything's godsend great.
Oh, yeah.
Win tonight.
Sure. It's absolutely, it's fascinating. It's the legacy, so many legacies on the line. If the Astros win tonight, it's 2 titles in 3 years. 2 titles for A.J. Hinch. 2 titles for Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa, Alex Bregman. Game changer. Justin Verlander gets another reason to celebrate with Kate Upton. Kate Upton agreed with you, by the way, last night. She said it was an easy call. He was out. She tweeted that, yeah.
Did she?
Yeah. I thought at that point, well, Kate says it.
I respect it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, if Verlander loses tonight, I don't know if he'll ever get over it.
I mean, God, can you imagine the devastation? Going to go home tonight and sleep with Kate Upton? I mean, he has millions upon
like
millions.
Andy Roddick always losing those Wimbledons to Roger Federer in the finals.
I guess I'll go home to Brooklyn.
So you're going to cheer for the Nationals tonight, though. There won't be any thoughts in your mind whatsoever from as you're watching the game standpoint. No,
I'm cheering for the Nats. It's fun. It's kind of fun cheering because if they lose, I don't care.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun. I mean, I like their team. I like Davey Martinez. He was with the Cubs in those 3 years especially those 2 years that, if you asked me today, hey, what were your favorite 2 years to be a Cubs fan? 2015 and 2016, obviously, was fun. And he was a big part of those teams. And I like Rendon. I love the way he plays. And on the flip side, I love the way Soto plays. He's a great player. Scherzer's a monster. Strasburg's a monster. I like Ryan Zimmerman. They're a good team. They're fun. I like Kendrick.
Well, I mean, you and the Astros have had a common enemy. I mean, the Cardinals hacked the Astros computers. You've had all that stuff going on. I mean,
there's something about the Astros I just never really bought into.
Really?
They're great. They're hard to cheer for. I catch myself cheering against them all the time.
Not caring at all, I find them very likable. They're fun to me. Something about the Astros I kind of like.
Davey Martinez did like Ryan Sandberg's wife. He did. That is allegedly.
That's allegedly true.
That is allegedly true. That is allegedly the reason that Rafael Palmeiro was traded away from the Cubs back in the day.
Really?
Yes, sir. Allegedly.
Urban legend, rumor, that kind of thing. Allegedly. So.
Yeah, Brian Dozier's with the Nats. He could get a title.
Good. So. Be fun.
Rendon in Atlanta.
Got a problem there?
No, I mean, it's interesting. It's if you're the Braves, do you invest in a bat or do you invest in an arm?
An arm.
That's what I think too.
I need an arm to go with Straka and that thing. Yeah, I need an arm.
Aaron Barrett would get a ring tonight.
Mm-hmm.
That's reason enough right there. Great dude.
Hell of a story.
But yeah, man, there's nothing more fun than Game 7. There's nothing more fun.
You just hope it's close in the 7th. Yeah, I hate those 12-4 Game 7s.
Yeah, now I can tell you the 2016 Game 7 was not fun.
Didn't have a good time.
This will be fun. That was miserable. That was most, and then when Rajay Davis hit the home run, and I had to quit being a Cubs fan for a minute and be a dad.
Yeah, that's right.
Because Carson just lost it.
Yeah.
Sobbing. Uncontrollable.
Yeah.
Sobbing. And I thought, oh. And then that rain delay, and we flipped over to a Thunder Clippers game. And I thought, what if this rain delay is all night and they don't start this until tomorrow night? I can't do this. There's a lot going on. But yeah, man, if you're a Nationals fan, if you're an Astros fan, this is fun tonight.
We'll sure talk about it tomorrow. It's kind of what we got for today. RebelGrove.com, Neil's mailbag, and more Neil's picks tomorrow. And we'll
to answer your question, Matt, as we close up, yes, he has many things planned out for the Cubs. If Carson could sit down with Jed and Theo and David Ross
and get this thing done,
he would have a lot of ideas. Now, Carson would have some choice words for the Ricketts family that probably would not go over particularly well.
And he would probably overextend the luxury tax. But
Carson is not concerned about the luxury tax. Yeah. He thinks that the bills will pay themselves over time. And in some ways, he's right.
Yeah. So, podcast tomorrow. We'll talk to you then. Otherwise, have a good day.